down on your back. Just start to get yourself comfortable. Starting to feel grounded down. Starting to bring your mind to focus on your body and your breath. Letting any other thoughts that arise just pass by. Try not to dwell. Try to give yourself this time. And then set aside any expectations for your practice today. Just listening to your body and allowing it to move in a way that feels good to you. Your practice might look different than it was last week, than it was yesterday. Just letting that happen. Start to bring your focus to your breath. Feeling the full inhale, ribs expanding, belly rising. And then a full exhale, releasing down, letting go of tension, belly goes soft. Trying to lengthen the breath. Taking longer inhales and longer exhales. And then on your next inhale, taking your right leg straight up towards the ceiling. If you have a strap or a belt or something, you can place it around your foot. If you don't, you can just interlace your fingers behind your thigh. You're trying to straighten the leg and then try to pull it in towards the body. So the first part is just to get the leg straight, or as straight as you can, and then the next part is to pull it in. Try not to strain too much. You're going to be holding it for a little bit, so you don't want to bring it to the point where there's any pain. Pushing, if you have your hands behind your thigh, really pushing your thigh into your hands to try to get that leg straight. And then trying to bend the elbows or pull the shoulders down to bring the leg closer to the body. Try to keep your left leg straight on the mat. We're just trying to stretch the back of the legs, the hamstrings. Somebody's walking by my house. It's very stressful for my dogs. Stanley. Stanley, hush. Trying to notice the longer you hold and pull the leg. Maybe it can come a little bit closer to the body where the muscle releases and stretches. The leg might even start shaking a little, that's okay. Take 3 more deep breaths. And slowly bend the leg, bring the knee into the chest. Maybe take it in some circles or bend and straighten. Let that hamstring release. And when you're ready, the right leg goes long, the left leg goes up towards the ceiling. And again, you can take the strap or the towel or the belt down to your foot, or you can just take your hands behind your thigh. First, trying to bring the leg to straight, and then trying to bring it in towards the body. If you get a cramp in your quad, like keeps happening to me, just release it and then try to come back. The hamstrings and the quads work kind of opposite of each other. So sometimes when you're stretching one, the other one will cramp. Taking those deep breaths, letting the exhales release the tension. Maybe even visualizing the back of the leg stretching, the muscle getting a little longer. Noticing if the knee starts to bend, and try to straighten the leg again. Taking 3 more of your own deep breaths. Then bending the knee Again, maybe bend and straighten, maybe take some circles, left and right. And then bring both knees into the chest. Rock forward and back until you come up to seated. And we're gonna come into a wide straddle, wide seated straddle. So taking your legs as wide as is comfortable for you. Remove the flesh from underneath your sits bones. Trying to keep your legs straight, but they can have a little bit of a bend in them, and trying to keep your feet pointing up towards the ceiling. And then just walking forward, feeling that stretch in the back of the legs again. So coming to where you can feel the stretch, but that it's not painful. And then just coming down, letting your back round, letting your head hang heavy. Try to keep the toes pointing up towards the ceiling. They're going to have a tendency to fall in. Try to keep the knees and the toes pointing straight up. And then just settling in. Noticing the sensation in the back of the legs. Feeling that stretching. Does it feel tighter in one side or the other? Notice if the toes are starting to fall in. Make them back towards the ceiling. Maybe you could walk your hands out just a little bit more now that you've been stretching a little bit. Taking 3 more of your own deep breaths. Slowly starting to walk your hands back. You can bring your legs in front, shake them out. And then we're going to come up onto our knees. You're going to take one foot forward. It doesn't really matter which one because we're going to do both sides. But one heel forward, coming into that runner's lunge or half splits. You're going to try to keep your hips high, keep your front legs straight, and then try folding forward over that front leg. Try to keep your chest over the knee. So really try to center your chest over that leg. We're not going to hold this one as long. Try to pull your toes back towards your face. Again, you should be feeling that in the back of the leg. All of these stretches are for the back of the leg. 3 more breaths. At the end of the 3rd breath, just push forward with that knee. Maybe take a few of those, pushing forward and back. Then we're going to switch it out. The other foot comes forward. Taking that heel forward, trying to straighten the leg. And then if you've got all of that, you can start folding forward. Pull the toes towards the face. The focus here is more on keeping the legs straight than on getting the chest close to it. Always just trying to come to that point where you feel the stress or the stretch, but not the pain. Take 3 more deep breaths. And then pushing forward, pushing down. Take some movement. And then we're going to come into a child's pose. So taking the knees wide, toes touching, hips push back, reaching the hands forward, forehead comes down to the mat. Just settle in, letting the hips release. Sometimes when we have tight hamstrings, that results in tight hips also. So noticing if maybe in this child's pose, since we've done a lot of hamstring stretches, maybe you can get the hips closer to the heels than you normally can. Taking a couple more deep breaths, lengthening the inhales, lengthening the exhales. And on your next inhale, coming up to tabletop and going through a few cat-cows. The inhales, drop the belly, raise the chin. The exhales, arch the back, tuck the chin. Really exaggerate the movement, get that movement in the spine. Starting to feel the movement in breath connection. One more round. Coming back to neutral. On an inhale, raising your right fingertips all the way up to the sky. And then on an exhale, thread it through between your wrist and your knee. Come down onto your right shoulder. Your left hand can stay supporting you. You can walk it to the top of your mat, or you can wrap it around your back, whatever feels good to you. On an inhale, using your left hand, pushing yourself back up, right fingertips rise, and set it down. Taking it to the other side, inhale, left fingertips rise, exhale, thread it through. And then again, you have options with that right hand. On your next inhale, right hand pushes you up, left fingertips rise, set it down. Take a little organic movement here. Maybe you move side to side, or roll up the neck, back and forth. You can take big circles. Coming back to neutral. Take your right leg straight out behind you, toes stay on the mat. And then you're gonna rotate open into a side plank with that bottom knee down. So lifting your right arm, your left foot goes behind you, lifting through your hips, trying to stack your shoulders. If you want, you can start to send that left leg out, coming into a full side plank. Keep breathing, pulling the belly button in. And come down to a high plank, and then drop your knees back down to that tabletop. This time, left leg goes out behind you, and then starting to rotate, opening up into a side plank with that bottom knee down. Lifting up. And if you want, sending your right leg out underneath you, coming into a full side plank. And coming back to a high plank, and then pushing back into a down dog. Take some movement here, pedal out your feet, bend your knees. Spread your fingers wide. Pushing through that first finger, first knuckle, through your thumb pad. Then on an inhale, come up all the way onto your toes as high as you possibly can. And then on an exhale, drop your heels over to the right. Stretching your calves. Inhale up through center. Exhale, drop the heels to the left. Inhale through center, and exhale, drop the heels down behind. It's okay if they don't touch the mat. Just pushing them down, lengthening the back of the legs. On an inhale, walk your feet up to meet your hands, and just fold forward. You can bend your knees, you can grab elbows, sway side to side, rock forward and back. Let the head hang heavy. Releasing the hands down. Inhale, slowly come all the way up to standing, reaching up, looking up. And exhale, hands come to heart center. Close the eyes for a moment. Send yourself or someone else a kind thought. Open the eyes. Inhale, reach back up. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to a high plank, and then your option, take a chaturanga, or you can push back to down dog. Inhale, walk or float to the top of your mat. Halfway lift and fold. Inhale, coming all the way up. Dropping your right arm down the side. Left arm reaches towards the ceiling. Find length in the left side of the body. Separate the ribs from the hips. Really reach. And then pull over to the right side. Keeping that lift and that length. Inhale back through center. Dropping the left arm down, reaching the right arm up, finding that length, lift, and then pull over to the left. Inhale back through center. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step back, and then take your option. Chaturanga to cobra to down dog, or straight to down dog. Inhale, walk or float to the top of the mat. Halfway lift and fold. Inhale, coming all the way up. Interlace the fingers down behind you. Squeeze your palms towards each other. Start to straighten the arms. Squeeze your shoulders onto your back. Ground down through your feet. Pull up on your kneecaps. Pull your belly button in. And then if you want, start pulling the arms, the hands towards the ground, coming into a slight back bend. Inhale, slowly coming back up. Release the arms. Reach overhead. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, take your flow, or push back to down dog. One more time, inhale, walk or float, top of the mat. Halfway lift and fold. Inhale, coming all the way up. And exhale, bow forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, take your flow, or meet in down dog. Take a big breath in, and a long breath up. Inhale, right leg rises, bend the knee, open the hip. So putting a little more weight into that left heel, trying to keep the chest square. And then straightening the legs, stepping it forward between your hands, lifting your left heel as high as you possibly can, keeping your hands on the mat. Bring your right knee over your right ankle. So trying to have that 90-degree angle in your knee. And then slowly tapping the left knee down, doing it at your own pace. Tap it down, lift it up. One more. From here, you're going to push back, straightening your front leg and dropping that left heel down. And then we're going to do that a few times. So come back into that lunge and then push back, drop the heel down. Again, doing it at your own pace, taking that movement. One more. Finishing with both legs straight. Your left toes are pointed out to the side, about 30 degrees. Inhale up onto your fingertips and try to square your hips towards the top of your mat. So push your right hip back and pull your left hip forward. And then try to fold forward, coming into pyramid pose. Pushing forward into your right knee, drop your left knee down, and then push back into that runner's lunge and tap splits. And then we're going to take a little flow here again. So pushing back forward, stepping that back foot up, coming back into pyramid, dropping the left knee, pushing back, runner's lunge. Take it at your own pace, pyramid to runner's lunge. More work to open up those hamstrings. One more and then finish in pyramid pose. Walking your hands over to the left side of your mat, so to the long edge. Taking both sets of toes, pointing to that long edge, and just come into a wide straddle. Hands can come to the ankles, or you can walk them between your feet. Letting your upper body be heavy. Coming back up onto your hands, walking your hands back to the front of your mat. Step your right foot back, down dog. Take a minute, pedal it out. And notice if that right leg feels any different than the left. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Maybe you have no idea what I'm talking about, that's okay too. Just trying to train your mind to focus on different things like that, different sensations, how the body feels. We use our body all day, every day. Many times we don't even notice how it's feeling unless it's feeling bad. Inhale, left leg rises, bend the knee, open the hip. Lifting that knee towards the ceiling, bringing the heel towards your butt. Straighten the leg, step it between your hands, high lunge, lifting your right heel. This time left knee is over left ankle, right heel is high. Tapping the right knee down and up at your pace. One more. And then pushing back, straightening that front leg, dropping the right heel down, pyramid, coming back into your lunge, taking that flow, bending the left knee, and then straightening, pushing the heel down. And then one more, finishing in that pyramid pose. Trying to straighten both legs. Right toes are turned out to the side a little bit. Come up onto your fingertips. Try to square the hips to the top of the mat. And then maybe you come a little deeper. Push your left hip back, pull your right hip forward. Then bending that left knee, dropping your right knee down. Hush! Pushing back into that runner's lunge. And taking that flow, pyramid, down to runner's lunge. One more and finishing in pyramid pose. Walking the hands over to the right, to the long edge of the mat, turning both sets of toes to point that way, and then come into a wide straddle. Push through your pinky toe side of your foot to lift your ankles. Let your jaw relax, your neck, any tension in your face. Coming back up onto your hands, walking them back to the top of the mat. Step your left foot back, down dog, pedal it up. Inhale, right leg rises. Step it between your hands, drop your left heel down, come up warrior one. So squaring your hips to the top of the mat. Front knee is over the front ankle, belly button pulls in, ribs pull in. Arms reach up, shoulders pull down. Breathing, pushing through that back heel and all the way through that back leg. Strong back leg. On an exhale, open to warrior two. So back foot turns parallel to the back of the mat. Front knee is still over front ankle. Tailbone is tucked, the belly button pulls in. Equal reach with both arms and squeeze your shoulders together behind you. Nice strong arms. Flip your front palm, reverse reach back, straighten your front leg as you come back. Feeling a stretch on your whole right side of your body. And then reach forward, drop down triangle pose. Keep both hips underneath you. Try not to let your butt stick out. Come up higher on your leg if you need to. Both hands come down to frame the front foot, bend that right knee. Put the weight into your right foot, and then you're gonna take as many movements as you need. Step up into a standing split. So lifting your left leg, it's not about how high you can get it. It's about keeping your hips square, and then pulling your chest towards your right shin. Bend your right knee, drop your left toes down. Drop your left knee down. Both hands come on the inside of your right foot. Step it out to the side. We're coming down into lizard. So maybe you stay up on your hands. Maybe you let the knee fall out to the side and you come onto the pinky toe side of your foot. Maybe you come down to your forearms. Listen to your body. Notice if your breath is a little labored. Try to bring it back to that slow, easy breath. Coming back up onto your hands, move that foot back to the middle of the mat. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, step back high plank, and then push back to down dog or take a flow. Inhale, left leg rises. Stepping it forward, dropping the right heel down, coming into that warrior one on this side. Front knee over front ankle. Hips are square towards the top of the mat. Push through the right heel all the way up through the right leg. Belly button pulls in, tailbone tucks, ribs pull in, arms come up, shoulders squeeze down and back. On an exhale, open to warrior two, back foot parallel to the back of the mat. Check in with your front knee, make sure it's not falling in, push it out towards the third or fourth toe. Front heel should be in line with the back arch. Flip your front palm, reverse reach back, straighten your front leg. Stretch the left side of the body. Reach forward, drop down, triangle pose. Sides of the body are holding you up, not your hand. Both hands frame the front foot, bend the front knee. weight goes into that left foot. Take as many movements as you need. Step up, standing split. Try to keep your right toes pointing down so that the hips stay square. Bend the left knee, drop the right toes down, drop the right knee down, both hands come on the inside of the left foot. Setting up your lizard on this side, so taking whichever option feels good to you today. Maybe this side is a little different than the other side, and that's okay. Coming back up onto your hands, moving your left foot back to the middle of your mat. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knees, step back, high plank, and your option, push down to down dog or take a flow. Inhale, walk the feet up to meet the hands, bend the knees, come down onto your butt. We're gonna come into a boat pose. So lots of options here. Boat works the abs. So you're gonna wanna push back until you can feel that your abs are engaged. And then lift your feet. You can keep your knees bent. You can hold behind your thighs. You can straighten your legs. You can have your arms out to the side. You can have your knees bent with your arms out to the side. Whatever works for you. Just feeling that engagement in your core. Trying to keep your back nice and straight. Try not to round. Bend the knees, bring the feet to the floor. Maybe take a few seated cat-cows, hands come to your knees, round your back, then push forward. We're gonna come into that double toe hold, which is the pose that we've been working on this month. So you're gonna use your big toes. You're gonna use your peace fingers, grab your big toes. You really wanna make sure that your thumbs come all the way around, not just that they're like touching your fingernails. You want them to come all the way around and really make that connection. Make a nice tight connection where you're holding the big toes. Then you're gonna come back. You're gonna start to straighten the legs. Now they can be wider to start. You wanna have your back straight, shoulders pulling back. And then as you can, as you get looser and as your abs get stronger, starting to bring your legs together. Oh, my one leg is not happy with me today. I'm having a little bit of pain. So from the side, it looks like this. I do round my back to get into the pose, but then once I'm there, I straighten my back, pull the shoulders back. That's gonna give you that counterbalance for your legs. And then really be strong in your legs. Pull up on your kneecaps, strengthen your quads. That's gonna help you from falling back. Because that's the biggest thing that usually happens is that people roll backwards. And that's because you're not engaging your legs. You're just kind of using them there to be there, but they're not engaging. So engage your legs and then lift up. You can play with that for a little bit. Some of the tips that I've been giving, if you do tend to just keep rolling backwards, and you just can't get yourself to stay up, you can use a pillow or roll a blanket and place it just behind your sit bones. That'll help you just keep that little bit of forward momentum so that you're not always rolling back until you can really feel that strength in your abdomen and even your back muscles. And then just, you have to make sure that everything's engaged. Even though the legs feel like they're not doing any work, they are doing work. They're doing that counterbalance for you. This is, you know, you're basically balancing on like your butt bone. And so you have to have that counterbalance on both sides. Your upper body obviously weighs more than your legs, and so the tendency is going to be to go that way. So you have to engage the legs to keep you upright and keep the balance in play. So play around with that a couple times. I'll give you a few minutes. Hush. Just trying one or two more times. And then when you're ready, coming down onto your belly. And taking your legs long behind you. Hands are up underneath your shoulders. Elbows squeeze in tight. Push down through your hands and push up into a cobra. So don't let your shoulders come up by your ears like this. Push them down, squeeze them together on your back. You can even keep your legs nice and active. That takes some of the weight out of your lower back. Exhale, release down. This time, take your hands wider than your mat. Your elbows are still going to point back. Your legs are still going to be long behind you. On an inhale, push up into a wide cobra. So still pulling the shoulders down and squeezing them together. Pushing through your hands. Using your back muscles. Exhale, release down. And one last time, your choice. You can take that original cobra, the classical form of cobra. You can take the wide cobra. You could take a baby cobra. Maybe you take a cobra and lift your hands off the ground this time. So your choice. On an inhale, lifting up. Exhale, release down. Push back into a child's pose. Inhale, come up to a tabletop and swing around. Bring your legs in front of you and then come down onto your back. Bring your knees into your chest, roll around, massage your spine. You come into a happy baby, grabbing the outside edges of your feet, pulling your knees in towards your armpits, push your tailbone down, feel your whole spine supported. Trying to take your feet parallel to the ceiling, like you're stepping on the ceiling. And bringing your knees back together, opening your arms out to a T. On an exhale, drop the knees over to the right, push through the left shoulder. Let your knees fall heavy. Both shoulders are on the mat. Bringing the breath back to long, deep breaths. On an inhale, coming back through center, And on an exhale, dropping the knees to the left, push through your right shoulder. Inhale through center, taking any last movements that are calling to you. When you're ready, finding a comfortable resting position. Maybe arms long, legs long, maybe laying on your side or seated, or even legs up against the wall. Finding a position where you can relax fully. Letting your practice sink in. As you settle, give yourself credit for showing up, getting on your mat today, taking time to honor yourself. Taking one more big, deep breath in. And on an exhale, releasing any remaining stress, tension, anything not serving you, letting it go. Shavasana. And slowly starting to bring your awareness back. Small movements in fingers and toes, and ankles and wrists. Rolling your head side to side. Taking your arms overhead for one last big full body stretch. Rolling over onto one side. Taking one last moment. Appreciation for the body and the breath and the earth supporting you. And slowly making your way up to a seated position, bringing your hands to heart center. I thank each of you for coming to class today, for taking time to honor your body, your breath. Thank you for allowing me to guide you and for your continued support. I hope the rest of your day is happy, and I hope you feel loved. Thumbs to forehead center. Namaste. Thank you, guys.